I've been in between jobs ever since I left college, doing different things here and there, odd jobs sometimes. It wasn't until I started as a 911 operator that I realized that's what I really wanted to do with my life. But
what'd you get your degree in?
About 4 months, when I received one of the most chilling, unexplainable, and
Probably could have
spontaneous
just
phone calls
just
in my
skipped that
life.
whole college thing. Or you gonna be a
The night it
911
happened was a
operator?
particularly grueling shift. I'd spent the last 10 hours dispatching police for the various houses. I was about 2 hours from finishing when I received a call from a little girl named Samantha. The following is a transcript of that call.
911 operator, what's your emergency?
Hello? Mommy's fallen over. What's your name, honey?
Samantha.
Okay, Samantha, can you tell me where you live?
I don't know the address. Can you find me?
Yes, Samantha, I can trace the call. Can you tell me what happened? Mommy's
You
been
can
acting
trace
all
the
weird
call,
the
then
past
why
few
even
days.
ask?
Not sleeping at nights, going around scratching at the walls.
Oh shit!
I'm too scared to come out of my
It's
room.
like a standard
I was
case
in
of
bed
possession.
And I started hearing this weird moaning sound. Mommy sounded like a zombie. And that's when I heard someone giggle. What's Mommy doing right now, Samantha? Mommy's on the floor right now. She won't get up.
Is she breathing?
I don't know. I can't see her chest moving. I'm scared. It's okay, honey. Help is on the way. I'll need you to stay on the line until they arrive. Can you do that?
Yes, something's happening. What's happening?
Mommy's twitching now. Her eyes are fluttering. That's when I hear the distinct sounds of someone moaning and the sounds of someone dragging something. I could hear Samantha's whimpering.
Is someone coming? I'm scared.
Yes, Samantha, they're not far away. What are those noises?
Samantha, can you
Samantha,
jump
what's
out of the
Mommy
house?
doing?
Jump
I'm
out the
hiding in my
window?
wardrobe. She's crawling on the floor like a tarantula. Her eyes have gone all weird. She's hissing and this weird foamy stuff is coming out of her mouth.
Wait a minute.
Can she see
What,
you?
the door wasn't
I don't
locked?
think she can see me yet. Is someone coming? Are they close? Yes, very close. Just then, I heard Samantha whisper something.
Samantha, are you okay?
Mommy's walking backwards now. I think she knows where I am. Her black eyes are looking right at me. Please, I'm scared. Mommy's trying to hurt me. Samantha, what do you mean your mommy's walking backwards? It's all upside down. Her legs are twisted the wrong way. Her body is normal, but her head is all backwards too.
The
Do you
fuck?
know when you twist your Barbie's head? It's like that. She's shaking as she walks, kind of like a robot. She's coming! Samantha, the police are right around the corner.
Mommy's smiling now. I think it's okay for me to come out.
Samantha, stay where you are. Mommy?
Why would you come out?
Samantha, the police are right outside. Mommy, please stop. You're scaring me. Samantha? Samantha.
What the
I don't want to eat that, Mommy.
What do you mean it'll make me just like you? Where are we going, Mommy?
Just then, I heard a piercing scream, and the line went dead. When the police finally arrived at the scene, they neither found Samantha nor her mother. In fact, the house didn't look like someone had ever lived in it. They reported that the lights didn't work at all. There was no furniture, and they found the decaying corpse of a dog which looked to have been dead for weeks in the living room. Insects, maggots, all kinds of detestable things were found slithering around the house, but not a trace of any living human being. Eventually, I quit my job the very next morning. That call is
Eventually, you quit your job the very next
I
morning.
just couldn't comprehend
Eventually.
the experience. My boss and the other officers were all adamant that they were sent to the wrong address. It was all deemed the fault of the dispatcher, me. But I know I wasn't.
Wait,
wrong.
did you
I
quit
know
or you
the
got
address was right,
fired?
and I know there was no error in the system. It wasn't my fault. I think about Samantha every day, and I pray that nothing bad happened to her. However, deep in my heart, I know that someone was pretending to be her mother. And that someone did something unspeakable to her. Something unthinkable. I will never forget that scream.
Damn. It's fucked up. They were like, it's all your fault. Is that it?
This is a disturbing story that happened to me about 4 years ago. It was around December. The snowstorms were starting to come in, and it was becoming very cold. Me and my wife were trying to get everything we could before winter started, mainly food and supplies. The problem is that we didn't have a car. We couldn't afford it. I worked a low-wage job and was making enough to barely pay rent on our shitty old apartment. My wife usually stayed home and took care of our 2-month-old baby, and I was doing the best I could to save enough money for a car. And finally, after months of saving, I had enough. One day I came home and told my wife the good news, and she was relieved. The next day we went to our local car dealership.
I get how
There was
hard
only
that
two
is.
cars on the lot, and they weren't the greatest, but the prices were very low, and as long as it got us from point A to point B, we would be happy. So we did what we needed to. Paid for it, got the keys, and drove off. The car was from 1984 and was
Oh,
pretty
you got
run
that
down,
one? I would
but
have
it
got the
drove
other.
just fine.
Oh, you got a stick?
6 months later, I was cleaning out the car when I noticed something odd under the back seat. It was something that I had never seen before.
Okay.
Despite having checked the car multiple
Zoom in on
times
his
at this
ass.
point, I looked closer, but I would need a flashlight in order to see it clearly. It looks like a black box of some kind. I thought it was just something the previous owner had left behind. Finally, curiosity got the best of me, and I pulled it out of the car. It was an old VHS tape, marked Happy Memories.
Oh,
It looked
boy.
to be around the same age as
That
the
gonna
car.
be nothing good. Happy memories? That's
I didn't
bullshit.
know what to do with it. I just thought it was some old home video from the previous owner, although it was pretty strange that it was hiding underneath the seat. While I didn't want to invade anyone's privacy, I decided that I wanted to see what was on the tape to satisfy my curiosity.
I would have looked at it too.
I went up to my attic and found my old VHS player. I hadn't used it since high school, back when I threw parties and me and my buddies would watch movies on it. It was a bit dusty, but it still worked just fine. I turned it on and put in the
I
tape.
wonder if my VHS still
It started
work.
off pretty
I put
normal.
in the garage
It was a
off
family during
months ago.
Christmas, people walking around, opening gifts, etc. Then things got a little uncomfortable. The husband and wife began arguing while the children were crying in the background. The argument got more and more intense as it went on. I could not make out exactly what was being said. The camera
The
cut
fuck
off,
is
and
this?
the screen was black.
What was it?
Before cutting back
Sinister?
into a scene that was so fucked up that it kept me up for weeks after. I will never get this image out of my head. The camera was now set up in a dark room. There was torture weapons hanging from the walls and dismembered body parts scattered across
Oh,
the
wow.
floor. The same wife and children from the beginning were now on their knees chained together and sobbing. That's about as much detail as I'm willing to go into. There was also a man in the room whose face was cut off from the camera's view. The man stepped out of frame and switched off the overhead light. And what he said next won't stop repeating in my head. I guess this is a happy memory for someone like me. After that, all that was heard was the horrified screams of the family.
Wow.
I had to turn off the tape. I couldn't take it anymore. I took the tape out and just stared at it for what seemed like hours. The images of the bodies, all the blood, the terrified faces of the family were now burnt into my
Could
mind.
take it to police and say
It was
like
hours before I said a single word to anyone.
311.
I
Was
eventually called the
is it
police
Europe
and
or
explained
something?
what I had found.
I don't even
After
know.
weeks of
Do they
investigation,
dial
we found
311
out
in
that this
Europe?
tape was of a family who had gone missing 32 years ago.
Damn.
They said that their house was demolished in 2003, and a car dealership was built in its place. The exact same place where I got the car. That's when it hit me.
The hell?
Thinking back, the car salesman looked a lot like the husband from the beginning of the video, except a lot older. Now that I think about it, he was kind of in a hurry to get us out of there after we bought the car, shortly after the shop was closed down and is now abandoned.
Wow.
A lot of my friends went there over the years and said it was a really good place for a cheap car. I would pass it every day driving to work. I'm assuming the police followed up on all of this during their investigation, but I never heard of any arrests being made or further updates on the case. As far as I know, that man is still out there.
Still out there killing women and children. That's crazy. Like, so he demolished his whole house and built a dealership and opened it up and was selling cars out of it for years, and then finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna sell this car and put a VHS tape in it. Or did he forget it was in there? Like, what the fuck? It's like, he thought it would be funny. Well, he's like, somebody just gotta know what I've been doing or what I've done, and just put it in there, and then closed up shop immediately after, because he was like, all right, I'm done now. Time to move on to a new state and kill more people. That first one, that was bullshit. They're like, oh, you sent us to the wrong house. Like, bitch, I tracked the house. It should be in the system. He traced the number. It's not like, how would that be his fault? If he traced the number and they're like, this is the number that the call came from. And it's like, oh, you gave us the right number. How is that wrong? It's not like someone gave him a number and he said, oh, this is the number. And then even if you can listen, because he said to get a transcript. So you could just look at that and say, hey, the person said this was the address. And I repeat it now. And the kid didn't know the address, but he said we tracked it. So he tracked the address. So you can just look back and look and see what the trace picked up and see the address, and he gave you the right address. So how is that? How you gonna say he gave you the wrong address? You know, that maybe someone who, if anyone's in a conversation that's actually been a 911 operator, maybe I'm just an idiot. I don't know. But I'm like, you track the number, the address. This is the address that came up when you traced the number, and you gave them that address. Unless the address that came up is one thing, and then the transcript of what you said over the phone is another address. That's different. And like, yeah, you gave the wrong address, but like I said, you should be able to check that. And they just like, no, you gave the wrong address. It's your fault. And he said he quit, but then it looked like he got fired. So I mean, maybe they just reprimanded him. And he's like, fuck this, and got fired. But he said that happened. He quit the next morning. But then the way he was speaking, as if he's after like a while he quit. But then he was like the next morning, so it wasn't a while. He quit the next day. Anyway, that's crazy. And then now he just feel guilty. He's like, I couldn't get help to the kid in time. The kid's gone. I should have told the kid, hey, can you jump out the window? Because that was a 1-story house. I'd be like, open the window. They usually have screens. Like hit the screen, or if you know how to take the screen out, take it out and jump out the house, and then run to your neighbor's house. Because if anything, like I was like, lock the door. Can you lock the door to the bedroom? Because it was like his mother was instantly in the room, fucking spider walking on the floor and shit. Like, then they get there like, this house don't even like it's ever been lived in. So that's like, you could send us to the wrong house. But like, you could investigate, like, see if anything has happened. Is it blood in here? Like, what's going on? And I don't know what the fuck made her eat, but I guess made her possessed. Probably just gave her like lead or some shit, and then make her like psychological or behavioral issues. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed my reaction one. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.